Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Yemen is facing political collapse following the mass resignations of President Abdullah Mansur Hadi, his prime minister, and entire cabinet. Thursday's exodus came just hours after Shia Houthi rebels stormed the presidential compound in the capital city of Sana'a. Hadi said he could not continue in office after Houthis allegedly broke a peace deal to retreat from key positions in return for increased political power. We'll have more on the crisis in Yemen just after headlines. King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz of Saudi Arabia has died at the age of 90. King Abdullah was one of the world's wealthiest and most powerful men, controlling a fifth of the known global petroleum reserves. The king's half-brother, Crown Prince Salman, has now assumed the throne. We'll have more on King Abdullah's death and Saudi Arabia's future later in the broadcast. In the United States, Cuba and the United States have wrapped the first round of historic talks in Havana. The two sides met as part of the effort to restore full diplomatic ties for the first time in more than half a century. The head of the U.S. delegation, Assistant Secretary of State Roberta Jacobson, is the highest-ranking U.S. diplomat to enter Cuba in nearly 40 years. Jacobson said while progress was made, there's no timeline for the reopening of a U.S. embassy in Havana. She also said she pressed Cuban counterparts on U.S. concerns about human rights.
I can't tell you exactly when that will happen. We are all working through the issues as quickly as we can, and we will do that as soon as we can resolve all of the functional issues that we need to address. On the issue of human rights, the President has spoken to the issue, and certainly that issue remains central to our conversations. We've made clear that we will continue to raise that issue, and I did discuss that issue today.
Cuban officials have denied human rights issues were addressed, and Cuba has previously criticized the U.S. record. Josefina Vidal, head of the U.S. affairs at the Cuban Foreign Ministry, said Cuba needs several outstanding issues addressed, including the lifting of the embargo and Cuba's removal from the list of countries sponsoring international terrorism.
For our part in the process of these discussions, it's a challenge to say that we have managed to reestablish diplomatic relations between Cuba and the U.S., while our country unfairly remains on the U.S. list of international state sponsors of terrorism. We also say that in order for us to open embassies, it is first necessary to resolve the banking situation faced by the Cuban interest section in Washington, which has gone almost a year without services.
President Obama urged Congress to lift the embargo during a State of the Union address earlier this week. The White House has confirmed President Obama will not meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu when he visits the United States in March. Netanyahu will address a joint session of Congress on Iran at the invitation of Republican House Speaker John Boehner. Netanyahu has backed new sanctions on Iran despite President Obama's vow to veto them as he pursues a nuclear deal with Tehran. The White House says Obama will not meet with Netanyahu, in line with protocol not to meet with foreign leaders so close to an election in their home countries. A journalist and activist accused of working with Anonymous has been given a 5-year prison term in order to pay nearly $900,000 in restitution and fines. Barrett Brown was sentenced Thursday after pleading guilty last year to charges of transmitting threats accessory to a cyber attack and obstruction of justice. Supporters say Brown has been unfairly targeted for investigating the highly secretive world of private intelligence and military contractors. We'll have more on his sentencing later in the broadcast. And federal prosecutors have unveiled corruption charges against New York Assembly Speaker Sheldon Silver following his arrest Thursday. Silver is accused of using his law firm to rake in millions of dollars in bribes and kickbacks. U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara said Silver amassed a huge fortune through the abuse of his office.
The complaint charges Speaker Silver in 5 counts with corruptly seeking legal business from a handful of people and entities with significant business or interests before the state, and then corruptly profiting from the legal fees that were paid. All told, we allege that Silver corruptly collected some $4 million in bribes and kickbacks disguised as referral fees. Politicians are supposed to be on the people's payroll, not on secret retainer to wealthy special interests they do favors for.
A Democrat, Sheldon Silver, has been New York Assembly Speaker for over 2 decades. A judge has issued seizure warrants to block him from accessing nearly $4 million spread out over 8 accounts. In brief comments to reporters inside the courthouse, Silver maintained his innocence.
I'm happy the issue is coming to be aired in the legal process, and I am confident that when all the issues are aired, I will be vindicated. Thank you.
New York Assembly Speaker Sheldon Silver is the latest in a series of New York lawmakers to face corruption allegations. His arrest has brought new scrutiny on Governor Andrew Cuomo's decision to abruptly shut down the Anti-Corruption Moreland Commission last year. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world.